Hey everyone, welcome back. Today is the final Tuesday of 2022. What day is that? Because we're filming this in November. So today, for you watching at home, if you're watching this on the day it came out, it is Tuesday, December 27th, and we hope you're having an amazing holiday season. Hope you're staying safe, spending time with friends and family and all your loved ones, and having some good food. But today we wanted to finish out the year strong, but we did want to talk about a semi-serious topic or something that I think afflicts a lot of creatives, videographers, photographers, and that is the topic of burnout. And what is burnout? How does it affect us? How does it affect our work? How can we solve that? And moving into 2023, how can we be the best versions of ourselves so that we are, looking out for one another, looking out for ourselves, practicing self-care and avoiding burnout as best as we can. Hopefully we can give you some tips along the way that can help you. But we did want to start out just kind of with our experiences of burnout, what that looks and means to us. But Quinn, I wanted to throw it over to you and, have you tell us a little bit about your experience with burnout, being in a creative rut and what that looks like and means to you.
Yeah, I get burnout. I've gotten burnout multiple times throughout my journey as a creator. I feel like it comes in natural, like these waves, and also obviously when you're really, really busy, because with this job, it's like go, stop, go, stop. Like there's no like natural like occurrence for work. It ebbs and flows. It gets really chaotic. It gets completely barren. So it's natural for, I feel like, your body and your mind to get really easily overwhelmed with the intense waves of work that comes our way. So I've gotten it quite often. It's not fun. It's tiring, but I think we both have learned a lot of different ways to help cope with it. So first thing is I like allow myself to rest. I think that's the biggest thing. I think we are always in like fight or flight mode of like needing to get jobs and work and have financial stability and income and opportunities. And so I think the first thing is like it's okay for yourself to take a break. It's important. It's actually very necessary, and I think you should like schedule them out, especially if you see yourself starting to get really busy. Like make sure you're saying no to jobs for maybe a week or however long you think you'll need to reset. Like I try not to book shoots back to back on days because that can be really overwhelming. If I'm traveling for a trip for 3 or 4 days, I try not to book anything for the next 3 or 4 days because I know I'm going to need that period to like rest and unwind. So my first thing is like let yourself chill out.
Can you anticipate almost like when you'll be burned? I know you mentioned like, like if you have 4 shoots or you're traveling for a little bit, like you're going to need a couple of days to recoup. So like in a way, can you foresee like, oh man, I have super hectic 2 to 3 weeks, or like, or does it vary where it's like, sometimes if you have 5 days straight of shooting, like maybe you'll come out of the other side of that like being cool and like you're still ready to go, or it's like, do you know like I'm working 5 days straight, I know I'm going to need some time off. Like what does that look like for you?
If I'm shooting physically if I'm on an actual shoot set, I know I'm going to be exhausted the next day. It's just how my body is. I like need rest the following day because gimbal, it's like hard on your back. It's hard, like there's a lot going on. So I always get tired the next day from a shoot. I'm able to do like 3 or 4 days or maybe 5 days max, and then I probably need like an actual break. So it's either that, if I'm really busy, I know that I'm going to need a break, but I also weirdly get like a burnout / creative rut if I'm like not busy and I don't have anything lined up for a long period of time. I almost like psych myself out and then like retract and recluse from that, like, and then work, like client work and stuff that I get excited about usually pulls me out of that. So it's like, it's weird. If I'm too busy, then I know I'm going to get tired or burned out. But if I'm not busy and it's like completely dead, then I know I'm going to get into like a creative rut because I'm going to be like bored and almost have like nothing to look forward to.
Yeah.
But what about you? How does it work for you?
For sure. I think it goes, burnout and creative ruts, we mentioned, go hand in hand. That's very, very applicable for me. I asked about like the anticipation because I know I'm like the same way. Like I know if I'm doing even 3 day shoots where it's like, you're on set physically shooting, even if it's just for 8 hours, but 8 hours, 3 days straight, it's like, it's so physically taxing, right? Because it, like you mentioned, it is, it weighs on your body and it's heavy equipment or whatever. So it's like, I know. And I'm also the type of person where it's like, I need 8 or 9 hours of sleep or else I cannot function properly. So 100% I can foresee like just being exhausted. I know next week we're actually on a project together, but so Monday I have to fly to Las Vegas, and then Tuesday, Wednesday we're shooting all day. Wednesday night after we finish shooting, we're driving back to LA, and then we have like an 8 a.m. call time on Thursday morning. We're shooting all day Thursday, all day Friday. I have Saturday off, and then on November 20th, I am shooting with an artist down in San Diego. So it's like, that's what, 5 out of 6 days, or 6 out of 7 days that I'll be working or traveling for work. So I know after that, I'm going to be donezo. And I only have 2 days off before I have to fly to New York for Thanksgiving. So it's like, that's a prime example where it's like, that sucks. Like, it's like, the projects aren't difficult. Like, it's not difficult work, but it's like, having to get somewhere, having to be at an airport, having to, go to sleep, having to wake up early, having to drive somewhere, having to be on set and like shooting, and that's only half of it. Then it's like, interacting with people, being friendly, being your best positive self, and like, working with a group of people. So it's like all of that like plays in hand. And I'm exhausted just talking about it. So I'm already burnt out. So I think it clearly, I don't know if you can see it in my face, but it's just like, the burnout affects me mentally a lot too. Like, I think my mental health, and that's a separate topic that I'd love to get into in a different video, but I think mental health is so important, especially within all of this, because like you mentioned, like our fight or flight, our cortisol levels are always up because of, you're kind of in survival mode all the time, whether it's like trying to find work and like not knowing where you're going to be making money from, and that's your sustenance, that's your like roof over your head, the food on your table. So it's like, all of that contributes to the overall burnout, right? And so that's how it is for me. But I try to take a page out of your book, same, like, take some time off, a few days off, and luckily, when we're working a lot of days consecutively like that means like, all right, like I'm chilling financially, like I'm gonna make what I need to make this month, so that puts that at ease a little bit. But yeah, I think you have to take time for yourself, and that's the key. But also being intentional and having that time you're taking for yourself be quality, like not just mindlessly scrolling or participating in habits that are bad for you or unhealthy habits, like whatever that is. I mean, I'm not perfect, definitely. Like, I definitely have some vices. So it's like, but trying to limit that so that you're really getting the rest that you need, I think is super key.
Yeah, and I think with that, allowing yourself to rest, and then also like, I try and switch up what I'm doing. So I try and like partake in other hobbies, because so much of my life is this. It's video, it's shooting, it's editing. So I try and do other things. Like, I have plants back here. So like, I'm like, into that plant life.
Definitely. You have a couple of kittens.
Cut that out.
Definitely not cutting that out. You also have some kittens running around too.
How dare you?
You have some kittens running around that might occupy your time.
Yes. Those we got rid of because we were fostering them. But small other animals, we have a singular cat here. So like, overall, we'll try and like do other hobbies, switch it up, so like try and activate a different part of my brain that's not this. I think is really refreshing. Yeah, love some games. Love to game as well. But I think it's good like to make sure you don't like hyper focus and put all your energy into one thing, like seeing friends, like all those things are good to reset your brain. And like, I always like used to think that I could like force myself into feeling passionate and creative again by just doubling down on what I'm doing and like just make, create, hustle. And I just realized that would just like exhaust me even more. So now I like try different things. But it's a lot of experimenting. It's a lot of knowing who you are as a person, what like makes you feel rested and refreshed, and then like applying those things and taking break.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. I think a lot of that comes with self-awareness, and as you grow older, you become aware of like things that you need in order to help yourself, right? And unfortunately, the culture that we live in America, especially, I'm sure a lot of these people are on TikTok, Instagram, whatever. It's like there's so much of like this grind, hustle mentality, up at 5 a.m. like whatever, you're editing, like you need to get ahead, like your competition's asleep right now, like you need to get ahead or whatever. But I think that's baloney. I'm sure that works for some people, and like don't get me wrong, I don't knock that, but it's like I think that's so consuming stuff like that, like content like that, is just like, nah, bro, like you need to do what makes you happy. Like, yeah, obviously if you want to get to a certain level in life or accomplish certain things, you do need to go the extra mile and work really hard. But a lot of it, like, you still need to take care of yourself, and that's why I don't subscribe to any of that like hustle grind mentality. I think it's so like unhealthy and toxic. And yeah, you just kind of go to the beat of your own drum. Like, if something's making you unhappy, like you gotta just take some time away from that and like either avoid it completely, cut it off, or just do things that are happy for you. But yeah, that's a really good point as far as like switching up the routine. But the same way. Like I for the longest time I like was just like, let me just stay at home and work or whatever. But as I've gotten older, like now it's like, all right, let me go outside for a walk. Let me just go walk for 30 minutes. I've really recently gotten into like ice plunges and ice baths. So that's been interesting. It's supposed to like regulate your hormone levels, bring down your cortisol levels, and they suck. Like they are so bad in the moment. But like I think you do start seeing like you feel more relaxed as time goes on. The more you do them, so that's been really good as well. And just like like I mentioned, spending more quality time with like people, that you enjoy being around with. I think that's like really important too.
I think it's all about balance, and I think if anything, you and I are two living examples of like you can be successful in this industry, you can make an income and somewhat of a living, knock on wood, hopefully in the future. But you don't have to be hustling your heart out to where you're like, digging yourself into the ground. Like I'm able to enjoy my life and have a balance, and Saul, I know you feel the same way. So it's like, take it from us. Like if you feel this pressure, you see, people who are really successful, you're like, oh, I know that they're working crazy hours and going crazy. Like, yes, that happens. It happens with specific moments and projects, of course. But overall, I think you and I both prescribe to like make sure you're like taking care of yourself, and it's not like your whole entire universe and to the point where you're like going insane.
Exactly. Yeah. I think just reminding yourself, like, we're not saving the world. This is not, we're not curing cancer. Like, we're not, there are people doing way more important jobs. We're not essential workers. Like, we're literally out here just capturing entertainment or making videos, that we enjoy doing. But it's like, if a video does not come out or whatever, like you get it, you deliver it 2 hours late to a client, the world will not end. I promise you that. And it's important to set boundaries. On another note, like that's important to set boundaries as well with like people that you're working with and clients, because I think especially when you're starting out, like you start to realize that clients are trying to like squeeze every single thing they can out of you, whether a million revisions, getting the content back to them immediately, like stuff like that. But it's like as you develop and you learn more about this industry and like being a videographer, photographer, like you learn it's like, yo, I'm not getting this to you right now. Like, and it's okay. Like you can say that, and it's, I think a lot of it comes from like the fear of disappointing people and like thinking that you're going to lose clientele or whatever. But it's like, if you're upfront from the beginning and setting those boundaries, it's like, especially for me, like people that I work with know it's like, if it's not Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, between the hours of 9 to 5 Pacific Standard Time, don't contact me. I'm not going to reply to you if it's work related. Like if you text me at 5:01, I will reply to you at 9 a.m. the next day, because I'm out of my own office. You know what I mean? I'm whatever going golfing with friends or doing literally anything else, but you do need to unplug. So, communicating to people that you work with, people that are around you, it's like, hey, I'm available these hours. This is when you can reach me. But outside of that, like I'm gone. So the further you get into this, the more you realize how important boundaries are. And I think for the longer run, that'll just help out with burnout. Just, being in tune with yourself and what you need.
I have a question for you on kind of the opposite of burnout, where it's like a creative rut where you're not feeling very inspired. Maybe you're not physically and mentally exhausted, but you're not feeling inspired, and you're not like, you're not, nothing is exciting you, or like you don't have that motivation to like make something personal that's creative. How do you deal with that? And like, what does that look like for you?
The thing about that, but this is with anything in life, it's like anything you don't, like a simple chore, like say you have dishes that are dirty, right? it's really just about taking that first step. Like think of an edit that you need to do as a pile of dirty dishes. The first thing you need to do is got to put soap on that sponge, right? Like you got to take one step. You got to take one step in that direction. So whether that's organizing your project file, starting the project file, and for me, yeah, like editing is a good example for me. As far as creative rut, like not wanting to do something, but it's really like showing up. Showing up is half the battle, and it's really like if you are able to show up, you'll be able to get it done. But I think creative ruts also can do a good job at pointing out or weeding out people who may not actually want to do this. You know, like I think if you're in a creative rut and it's like you can't even get yourself to do anything, like, you know, that's a good moment to, I think, look inward and be like, all right, am I not doing this because maybe I'm burnt out, I'm tired, I have a bunch of other things I need to get done and I'll eventually get to it? Or is like, damn, like I don't even really give a fuck about this. Like I don't even know why I'm doing this. I'm like, I don't even want to do this anymore, you know? So I think that's like also a good moment to like be introspective and like really see like why you're in a creative rut. But you know, for me, like if I'm in it, if I'm in a creative rut, like I'm in it. And I just know like as much as it sucks, I just have to take that one step. And once you take that first step, one step leads to a second, to a third. And, you know, eventually you're kind of like working your way out of it, even unknowingly, you know, or subconsciously, like you are going to get out of it. But it's hard. And it's not like, you know, it's like, oh, I'm in a creative rut right now. And now I'm not. It's like not, it's not like a switch, right? It's like, you know, you kind of have to work through it and push through and, you know, you'll come out on the other side, but it is so hard. What about you? What's your energy with that? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm very similar. It's like baby steps. You know, you set very small tasks to try and kind of get yourself out of it. On a personal level, if I'm not making anything like personally creative and I'm not feeling like inspired, because usually I like to make something here and there that's just for myself. And if I struggle with even that, which I've struggled with even the past few months, I've had that happen to me where I haven't really made anything for myself. There's a few things that I do. So like I allow myself a break and I kind of give myself a certain amount of time to like not think about it, not worry about it. And then I start watching a lot of content of like my favorite creators, and that will start to like inspire me to see how they make stuff, how they're, you know, going about something. It'll spark different ideas in my brain. Like I try and just like think of my brain as a muscle, and I start to like consume stuff that excites me and interests me. Like you said, I like it. It's a good point to realize and figure out what you're interested in, not interested in. And then weirdly enough, and I don't know if this is narcissistic, but I will like watch some of my older work, like when I first started and the stuff that I was really excited about, because it like puts me in that headspace of like just starting out. I discovered how to do something this way and I really liked it and I was excited about it. It like puts me back in that moment of making it. And weirdly enough, that will like spark up some passion and excitement to make new things. And then I'll just start writing stuff down that I like want to do, or like thoughts or ideas, and slowly it'll like snowball into hopefully picking up the camera. But at the end of the day, you're right. It's like just taking that first step and making something and like starting to flex your brain muscle into creating.
Yeah, I mean that's really all we can say. I think, you know, everyone's experience is so like unique and different and situational, right? Like everyone's, you know, home life balance is different. Like you might be dealing with something else. You might have kids, you might have a spouse, you might have parents, brothers, sisters, whatever. Like, you know, things you're dealing with externally, school, you know. So it's like you really need to, you know, find the pain points, I think, where like, you know, the burnout is stemming from, and, you know, what is contributing to that burnout, and then slowly start chipping away at that and just being like, all right, let me take a step away from this, and this, in order to like recenter myself. And, you know, even if it's a day that you need to take off, or if you don't have the luxury to take a day or a couple of days off or go on vacation, like even if it's like an hour or 30 minutes where you can like just remove yourself from like everything that's causing you stress, I think that'll help in the long run. But
I was gonna say another thing is to like reach out to fellow creatives and like collaborate. Like sometimes you're so alone as a freelance solo content creator that it's good to like connect. Like even doing what we're doing now also helps me feel more creative. Like don't recluse as much as I personally would like to recluse. I love reclusing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's a great point. Yeah, no, this has been really helpful. And, I think this is the last episode of the year that we're doing before, we put out some more in next year. But I am very glad that we started doing this, last 2 months ago, I guess now at this point, in October. Or I guess it's more, right? 2 months. This is coming out in December, October. So, yeah, 2 months ago. So this has been helpful just to switch things up, right? Like you said, like, it's an easy avenue, very therapeutic, I think, in a way as well, because we get to like just talk about different pain points or experiences that we share. So yeah, if you can recreate these conversations, but with other people in your community who are creatives or whatever, you'll realize the value in that. Yeah, because I live alone. I know, Quinn, you live with your partner, but still, like, it's like you still need that community, whether virtual or in person. Because. That humans are not meant to be alone, and that's what I am learning.
Yeah.
That's what I'm learning.
Very necessary.
Absolutely, very necessary. But cool, Quinn. Anything else to add before we wrap up this final episode of 2022?
Ooh. I hope your new year goes well. I hope you're killing it. Just keep making shit. Like that's all it really is. It's just like make stuff for you that you want to make, do what feels right, do what you're interested in, and hopefully everything aligns for you in the new year. I'm sending my best wishes to you, even though I don't know who you are watching this currently, but I'm wishing the best. Only good vibes.
Only good vibes. Only good vibes. But no, yeah. Thank you, Quinn, again, for joining us. Thank you for watching. Hope you're having, again.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, yeah. Hope you are all having a great holiday season, staying safe. Hope you have a good, happy new year as well. And we're very excited to see you all in 2023 and keep answering any questions you might have, or, talking about different aspects of the creative industry. But with that, as always, feel free to DM us on Instagram at Quinn_films, at Saul Lopez, linked in the description below. We love interacting with all of you. We'll answer anything you have for us, and yeah, stay safe out there, and we'll see you next year. Peace.
See you next year.
Bye.
2023.
Tres.
Right?
I think so.
I always forget what year it is.
Yeah, 23.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's go.
That's it. Easy peasy.
I might just hit it raw. That's on my element. I like dark skins, love a melanin, pump, pushing the guitar when I'm stepping in.